Hello, my friend-end friend. My name is Kevin, and here at my channel I help people fall in love with CSS. And if I can't get them to fall in love with it, I'm hoping to at least help them be a little bit less frustrated with it. And one way we can do that is stepping up our CSS game by getting past the basic selectors of just like our element selectors, our class selectors, and our ID selectors, and diving into the world of combinators. And so to do that, we're going to be diving into demo land right here where I have this demo set up. We're CSS Combinators. We're going to be diving in here, and first of all, I'm assuming you already know these ones. As I said, the element, class, and ID selector, and you're ready to move past those basic ones. If you're not familiar with those yet, I'll put a link to a video in the description that will get you started with the basics. For the first one we're going to be diving in here is our descendant selectors. And there's two types of ones. We can select all of our descendants or just the children, which is like the direct descendant, right? So if we come and take a look at the HTML here, I have this section with a class of children on it. And in there I have a whole bunch of stuff, but there's some paragraphs that are children of that or descendants of that. So with the descendant selector here, this is all paragraphs that are descendants of something with a class of children. So if we come on here and I say this is a color of red, we're going to see that all of the paragraphs have become red. So coming to here, we're seeing inside of children, any paragraph that's in there, including this one that's nested inside of an extra div here. If we come in and we add this combinator, which is just sort of a funny name for like a way that we can be more specific about the relationships between elements when we're selecting them, I can come in on this one. Let's turn off this color red here, and we'll come and declare the same thing here, color of red. And now you can see this one and this one have become red, but the one inside of this box over here hasn't, because this paragraph that is inside of here is not a child of the children class that we have here. And I realized I have oh no, I thought I had an extra element here, but that's because I wanted that guy over here. Usually I do that. Anyway, it's working. It doesn't matter. It looks kind of weird though. But yeah, getting back on topic, we have this section of children, and then we're only selecting the direct siblings rather than going further and deeper. And this can be really useful in some different patterns. I'll include a link down below on why I don't think gap should be used for everything, and that includes a use case on how we can use this to reintroduce margins along the way. Now, next up, we have the next sibling combinator, which is the plus character right there. And this just means select the next sibling after whatever this is that matches whatever this is, right? So if I have box plus box, and this is actually part of the pattern that I was talking about for the margins, but if we do a box plus box, and we're going to use a background on here of red, so it gets brighter, and we can see some of our boxes have become red. Let's even make those white maybe, so that it just really stands out and isn't too ugly. But we can see that we've selected every box that follows another box. So let's go look at my index over here. So we have all of these boxes here, and this box isn't coming after another box, so it's not getting selected. But then this one is coming after another one, so it is the next sibling that matches. And this one as well comes after a box, so that one matches, so both of these become white. In the middle, we have something else. So the something else breaks that pattern, meaning this box doesn't come directly after another box. It's not the next sibling. So this one isn't selected. And then once again, we run into the same situation with those ones right there. And if we do have something that's nested afterwards, that one won't get selected. And it's down here and not over here. That really doesn't change anything. This is only selecting siblings. So because this box isn't a sibling of this one, I'm talking about the relationship between elements, this is, you know, the div is the sibling, and then this is a child of this div, so it's not matching that. It's not an actual sibling. It has some other, I don't know if it's a cousin or what we would call that one. But whatever the case is, this isn't a sibling of this box, so this one doesn't count right here. Now, up next, we have the subsequent sibling. And the subsequent sibling one is a little bit more interesting, though maybe a little bit more niche. The plus one I definitely use more often than this one, but in the right situation, this one can come in. So we have the exact same setup here in the HTML for this example. But if we jump on over to the CSS, I've replaced before we were doing that with the plus. Now I'm putting the tilde right there. And on this one, if we do the same thing, we're say background on that box, tilde box, background is going to be white on those ones. And now we can see that all the boxes except for the first one have become white, which is interesting, right? So this one hasn't become black like we had before. And the reason all of them are becoming white and this one here isn't getting skipped over like it had been previously is if we come back to our index here, so subsequent siblings, we're selecting the ones that are in here, and the subsequent sibling is going to, it's anything, so any of the boxes that come after a box. So all of these ones are coming after a box, so it works. Just as a bit of a change on this one, let's put this one as the letter A. And we're going to come back over to here, and let's switch this selector for an A. And we're going to see that it selects every box that comes after the A. So it's selecting this box, and this box, and this box, and this box. Even though there's something in the middle, that doesn't matter. As long as it was a sibling that comes after, so these are all boxes that come after that letter A, then they're matching that. If I were to switch this over to the plus that we had before, which was the direct sibling or the next sibling, and we do that, in this case, it's only selecting A as this first one or the second box here. So it's selecting the one that comes right after that and only the direct one immediately after. So sometimes it makes a bit more sense than just using the same class for both of them. So hopefully that illustrates the difference between the subsequent and the next sibling, where we're getting everything else. And just to repeat that, where we had a different nesting going on and whether or not it will select it, I'll let you think about it for a second. And there we go. It has not selected it because, again, this is not a sibling. So both the plus and the tilde are only going to be selecting siblings. They'll never go further in and get other ancestors. And the more I think about it, I think it would be a cousin, right? Because it's the child of one of the siblings. So I guess those would be cousins. All right, cool. So that's the subsequent sibling and the next sibling. And next up, we have attribute selectors. And I'm only going to look at the basic use cases of attribute selectors because we can dive really deep into this. And I'm going to have another video exploring that coming out next week. But even just with the basic parts of it, it is fair. You can start seeing the power of them come in. So for example, let's come over on this index just to take a look at the HTML where I have my attribute selectors. But we can select things based on the attributes they have. We have classes IDs. Those are our dot and our hashtag are sort of shortcuts to accessing those attributes. But we have hrefs, for example, that we can put on things. We also on links often have our target of blank that shows up on things, right? To say like it's going to open it up in a new tab. So that's one option that we can do. And there's some really sort of bizarre and interesting things that we can do in here. But let's start with the very basics, which would be I could select all my A's. Let's just say all my A's have a color of, we're going to say orange red, just so it really changes. There we go. We can see that that is kicking in. Now, what if instead of the A of our orange red, and we're going to do a text decoration of style. I think this is how you do it, right? Can we do dotted? There we go. So they're all dotted as well. And we'll also do a text decoration color, because text decoration is a shorthand. Not enough people know that. I think I have a video on that. If I do, it will be linked in the description as well as the different stuff we can do here. And I'm going to say this will actually be white because just for demo purposes, it's good to not only use color. I'm trying my best to show other ways of doing it. So dots and white. Well, I guess we have color and the dots coming in to distinguish what will be selected, because I could come on an A, and then on this A, I could open and close some square brackets and say that if they have a class, then I'm going to select it and style it. So let's go back to the HTML. We can see this last one has one. And this one in the middle here also has a class, pretty terrible class name, but it does have a class. So I can say that those ones are going to be styled differently. And this is just saying if it has a class attribute, we're going to style it. You could get really specific and say class is equal to like link4. We saw that great name that I'd put on there. And then it's only selecting the one with the class of link4. But of course, here you would just do a link4 instead, because why do it the longer way? The specificity is also the same, so we're not changing anything there. We also don't have to have the A here. It won't make a difference in this demo, I don't think. Let's find out. Let's just say if everything that has a class will get the orange red. And yeah, for how I've set things up here, it hasn't actually changed anything. But yeah, you can do an attribute selector without having the compoundedness of it, with the element as well with it. Hopefully that made sense. So that's just doing an attribute like this, but we can also be a little bit more specific. Like I could say if there's a target, I think this is maybe a bit more of a useful use case. So my socialize here has a target because I'm opening that up in a new tab. And maybe you want to indicate that it's actually getting opened in a new tab. So what we could do for that is instead of necessarily changing the color, maybe I'm going to use some nesting here. So we're going to do an ampersand. If you haven't seen nesting, it's the ampersand here is a placeholder for the entire selector. So it'd be the same thing as doing my before on another selector down here. This is part of native CSS now. So we can do things like this with CSS, and browser support is pretty good. So what I could do here is content, and we could put a URL, And I have an image here. So actually it would just be my images folder, I believe. And we can see that's come in before. That would probably make more sense if it was coming after. And we can have a little icon show up there. Let's add a little extra space here as well. Just so we get a space coming between them. It looks kind of weird because it's being added after, so the underline doesn't go there, but you get the idea. Turn off your text decoration, and then you have this little extra icon showing up. We could style it, do a little bit more with it. And this is really just scratching the surface of attribute selectors. I wanted this to be the combinators that you use most often, and this is how I generally use them. I'll also do, like, you could have a data attribute here, like data sale is equal to true or something, and you could target things where the JavaScript is manipulating a data attribute. Or in a navigation, you might have an, let's fix that, you might have an area current equals page, and that's useful for highlighting the active page that you're currently on. So then if you're styling the active page, instead of having a class of current page or something like that, you could hook into it this way. And it helps with accessibility and screen readers as well. So there's a few different times where I use attribute selectors like this. And as I said, next week there'll be a video coming out where I'm looking at some more advanced, weirdish use cases that can actually be super, super handy. So if you don't want to miss that video and you haven't yet subscribed, please do consider subscribing. And with that, I would like to thank my enabler of awesome, Johnny, as well as all my other patrons and channel members for their monthly support. And of course, until next time, don't forget to make your corner of the internet just a little bit more awesome.